subject of this morning's strategic intelligence brief is rare earth elements. Specifically, we'll be assessing Turkey's emerging role and what it means for the shifting dynamics on the global geopolitical chessboard.
Let's start with a single, stark number. 410 kilograms. That, gentlemen, is the quantity of rare earth elements required for a single F-35 fighter jet, a figure that immediately establishes the stakes of this discussion in terms of national security and advanced warfighting capability.
And this visualizes our single greatest strategic vulnerability. Right now, China controls 92% of the global refining capacity for these critical elements. It's a near-total monopoly, a choke point on the world's most advanced defense and technology industries.
Which brings us to our first section. To truly understand what's at stake, we have to think about these materials differently. They're not just some industrial commodity. For all strategic intents and purposes, they are the new oil.
So what exactly are we talking about when we say rare earth elements? Well, they're a group of 17 metals, and the word essential here is key. From the chips in our phones to the guidance systems in our most sophisticated missiles, without them, our entire modern tech and defense infrastructure grinds to a halt.
And just look at the economic scale we're dealing with. The market for the raw materials alone is projected to hit $770 billion by 2040. But here's the real point. The industries that depend on them, electric motors, defense electronics, wind turbines, are already worth well over $1 trillion. See, the real value isn't just in digging them up, it's in what you can build with.
This whole situation sets up a global chessboard, a game that's defined entirely by strategic dependency. So let's take a look at the board and analyze the positions of the key players.
China's position is, well, it's dominant. They control 61% of the actual mining, sure, but their real strategic weapon is their 92% control over the refining and separation process. They use this to run a produce, restrict, and license model that lets them control global prices and supply. And to put their industrial scale into perspective, their production of high-performance magnets last year was 300 times the entire U.S. annual target. 300 times.
And this right here is the geological heart of their power, the Bayan Obo mine. It's a single site that holds roughly 40% of the entire world's known reserves. This is a strategic center of gravity, plain and simple.
Now, this dominance translates into a direct and dangerous dependency for the United States military. We know the F-35 needs 410 kilos, but look at our naval assets. An Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, over 2 tons. A Virginia-class submarine, more than 4 tons. And with 70% of U.S. imports coming directly from China in recent years, any disruption to that supply chain puts our entire defense posture at risk.
But this chessboard isn't static. The board is absolutely shifting. So let's look at the counter moves being made and the new players who are stepping onto the field.
One of the key countermoves is the recent U.S.-Ukraine mineral agreement. The strategic logic here is obvious. Create an alternative supply chain by tapping into Ukraine's huge mineral wealth. The problem, however, is that this is a high-risk gamble, because an estimated 40% of those reserves are in Russian-occupied territory.
Greenland is another interesting piece on the board. Its reserves are rich in what are called heavy rare earths, things like dysprosium and terbium. These are absolutely critical for the high-performance magnets used in extreme defense applications, and right now, the U.S. has no way of producing them at scale.
All of this brings us to the focus of today's analysis, Turkey's decisive move. A move that we believe is a potential game-changing asset on this global stage.
So the crucial question for us in this room is this. On this complex global chessboard, what is Turkey's position?
694 million tons.
That number, gentlemen, represents the world's second largest known rare earth element reserve, located right here in Turkey, in the Eskişehir-Beylikova region. This single deposit has the potential to make Turkey the dominant supplier for all of Europe and a pivotal global player, second only to China.
But a reserve is just potential, and potential has to be turned into capability. That requires a concrete plan. Here it is, Operation 2025-2035.
The roadmap is broken down into 3 phases over 10 years. Phase 1, Foundation, runs through 2028. The mission here is simple: verify the reserve to international standards and get the pilot plant fully operational. Phase 2, Scale Up, is about building an integrated refinery and forging international partnerships to hit large-scale magnet production by 2032. And finally, Phase 3, Global Position. By 2035, the vision is to move up the value chain into EV motor assembly and advanced recycling. The overall objective is to multiply the value of the raw ore at least 10 times over.
To conclude, what this analysis makes clear is that we are looking at a strategic window of opportunity.
The core philosophy, our doctrine, must be this. This is not about simply digging up raw materials and selling them. It is about creating an integrated, high-value ecosystem built on the triangle of refining, recycling, and technology.
This leaves us with one final, direct question. For our nation, for our future strategic autonomy, the question is simple. Are we ready to make this move?
This analysis was prepared by the National Intelligence Academy. The moves made on this chessboard in the coming years will determine the technological and strategic landscape for decades to come. Thank you.